The first time the red light moved, I didn't think person. I thought electronics, like a standby light, a sensor, something small and stupid and battery-powered that someone forgot to turn off. It was so dim, it felt embarrassing to react to it at all. But it moved like it was checking something. It slid across the upstairs window in a slow, careful arc, and then stopped, not drifting, not fading, just holding there, like whoever was holding it had decided to stop where they were, like they were waiting to see if whatever they'd noticed would move again. My phone light was off. All of ours were. We were standing just inside the trees, and the dark felt heavier there, like it had a weight. In that moment, I realized how long we'd been walking without talking. Someone behind me whispered my name, not loudly, just breath and consonants. "Don't," I whispered back, automatically, like the dot could hear me, like speaking would make it move. The cabin was still mostly a shape then, a darker block among darker trees, the kind of cabin you don't really see until you're almost on top of it because it's built low and tucked in like it doesn't want attention. 2 stories, barely, maybe 2.5 if you counted the roof, a porch that didn't look sturdy enough to trust. We'd been talking about getting there like it was guaranteed. Like once we saw the cabin, everything would reset, warmth, food, walls, a place where the ground didn't shift under your feet. We'd treated it like a checkpoint. I don't know who started doing that. If I explain the plan clearly, it sounds reckless, but it didn't feel reckless at the time. We checked the weather, we packed layers, we told someone where we'd be. We'd had coordinates written down, copied from a text thread that kept getting buried under other messages. We heard a story about a cabin, not a solid one, but enough of one that we didn't question it. It was supposed to be a general use cabin. That's what Mark said. Like one of those old forestry cabins where you sign a logbook and leave a note and sweep the floor. He said someone he knew had stayed there before. He also said it might be locked. That part didn't bother me until later. At the time, it was just another variable, not a stop sign. If it was, we'd just camp outside. Easy enough. It had gotten cold earlier than expected. That's the boring part, but it matters. The temperature dropped fast once the sun stopped hitting the trail, and the forest swallowed what little light was left. My fingers kept going numb inside my gloves. When we stopped to drink water, the plastic mouthpiece was stiff, like it wanted to crack. My headlamp started blinking low battery around dusk. I thought I'd brought spares. I'm still not sure if I'd forgotten them, or packed them, or lost them, or left them in the car. That detail loops in my head more than it should, like if I solve it, something else will make sense. We saw the cabin after full dark, finally. First it was the shape, then the porch line, then the upstairs window, a square of deeper black. And then, inside that square, the red light. It moved. My stomach dropped in a very physical way. Not fear as a concept, just my body reacting before my brain caught up. My knees bent slightly, like I was about to sit down without deciding to. Sophie grabbed my sleeve. Her fingers were cold through the fabric. She didn't squeeze, she just held on. "What is it?" she mouthed. Mark whispered, "Someone's up there." I almost said no. Not because I disagreed, but because saying yes felt like locking it in. We hadn't been quiet on the trail. We had talked. We laughed once or twice. We turned our phone lights on together when the trail disappeared into leaves and roots. If someone had been in that cabin for any amount of time, they would have heard us coming. Which made it worse. Because if they had heard us, why was the light still on? The red glow shifted again, higher this time. Not fixed, definitely handheld. A headlamp, probably with a red filter, maybe. I knew that in theory. I'd used red light before. I just hadn't expected to see it framed in a window that wasn't supposed to be occupied in the middle of the night. Sophie whispered, "It looks like a cigarette." "It's moving too much," I said, then immediately wished I hadn't spoken. Without discussing it, all three of us turned our phone lights off. The darkness closed in fast. You'd think it would help, but it didn't. It just made me feel more aware of everything I couldn't see. Roots, rocks. The fact that if someone inside turned on a real flashlight and swept it across the trees, we'd be standing there in the open, obvious. Mark leaned close. We should go. Sophie didn't answer. She was staring at the window, like if she looked away, the light would disappear, and then we'd have to guess what that meant. We're freezing, she whispered. We can't just... We can, Mark said. His voice was thin. We absolutely can. I didn't say what I was thinking, which was that the cabin had become our mental map. Without it, the trail felt abstract. GPS would probably work, but probably wasn't comforting right then. We were also all freezing. The red light paused, then slid again, slow and careful. I noticed the window glass then. It caught a faint reflection of the sky through branches, clean enough to reflect, not boarded, not broken. That didn't mean anything definite, but my brain filed it under maintained. I stepped sideways to get a better angle and snapped a stick under my boot. The red light froze. Not dimmed, not drifted, just stopped exactly where it was. My breath caught. Sophie's hand tightened. They heard that, I whispered. Mark said, we're too close. We were maybe 30 yards out, still in cover behind the trees, close enough to see the door shape. It was closed. No other lights were on, no glow downstairs, just that single light upstairs, red. Sophie pulled her phone out again, turned the brightness way down, and typed, "Do we call out?" Question mark. Mark shook his head hard, as if everyone could see him. He didn't want to be the one to decide, but he knew his answer. I typed back, maybe, which helped no one. We started moving again, but not straight toward the door. We drifted sideways along the tree line, putting trunks between us and the windows. At that time, it felt cautious. Later, it felt wrong. We weren't acting like people who expected a friendly answer. From inside the trees, the cabin looked different at every angle. The window vanished behind branches, then reappeared. The red light was gone now, but that didn't help. It just meant we didn't know where it was. We stopped and listened. I heard the trees shifting. A creak that could have been wood on wood or just branches rubbing. Somewhere deeper in the forest, something heavier cracked. A log rolling or falling maybe, or an animal moving fast through deadfall. It was far enough away to be unrelated, but it sent a jolt through me anyway. It reminded me of how loud things could be out here without meaning anything. Mark whispered, "Did you hear that?" "It's not from the cabin," Sophie whispered back. I didn't answer. I didn't trust my voice. We shifted positions without planning to. Mark drifted left, Sophie stepped back and right. I stayed where I was for a second, then moved forward a few steps to keep us within sight of each other. From the cabin's perspective, if someone was looking out, it would have looked like lights appearing and disappearing in different places, people repositioning, encircling without meaning to. That thought came to me too late. That's when I remembered the laser pointer. It was clipped to my pack strap because earlier on the trail I'd used it as a joke. We'd found a faded blaze and my phone light wouldn't hit it right, and the laser lit it up clean and sharp. "World's smallest survival tool," Mark had said. Unhooking it felt like crossing a line even before I turned it on. Mark whispered, "What are you doing?" "Just looking," I whispered back. I clicked it on under my hand first. A small, hard, red glow hit my palm. Even that made Sophie flinch. "Don't," she said quietly. "Please don't." "If I just steady it," I whispered. "If I don't wave it around." I braced my wrist against the trunk of a tree to keep my hand from shaking. I remember thinking about that specifically. Don't let it jitter. Like that was an important distinction. I aimed it at the upstairs window. The dot appeared on the glass, sharp and precise. It didn't fill the room. It didn't show much, but it made the window surface visible. For a second, I thought I could see shapes inside. Furniture, maybe, and shadows. It was too hard to tell. The dot stayed still. Then deeper in the room, another red glow came on. It was lower than before, moving fast. I yanked the laser away. The dot skittered across the siding and vanished into the trees. Sophie whispered, "They're moving." Mark said, Okay, we're done." We started backing up, careful, trying not to turn fully around. Then the red glow inside cut out completely. Not slowly, just gone. That hit harder than seeing it. Because the timing mattered. It went dark right after the laser, right after the stick snap, right after our movement. I don't know if that meant anything, but my brain filled in intent immediately. "They turned it off," Sophie whispered. "I think so," I said, and added quieter, "I think they saw us." That was my interpretation. I knew that even then, but it felt solid in my chest. Mark stopped backing up. "We should say something," he said, like he'd decided on logic instead of fear. Before either of us could stop him, he cupped his hands and called out, "Hey, anyone in there?" The words felt huge in the cold. There was no answer. He tried again, louder. "Anyone in there? We're just hikers." He hesitated. I could hear him deciding what not to say. Not public, not ours, not empty. "We thought this place was..." He started, then stopped. Silence. Then a creak. Maybe a floorboard, maybe the porch, maybe nothing. Sophie grabbed his arm hard. "Stop," she hissed. My phone light came on accidentally when my thumb slipped. A bright beam cut through the trees and hit the cabin wall. A second later, Sophia's light came on, then Mark's. 3 white cones in different places, overlapping and separating as we moved. From inside, it would have looked coordinated, like we were checking angles. "Back," I whispered. "Back now, let's go." We retreated faster than before, not quiet running. Branches scraped our jackets. A root caught my toe and I stumbled. Sophie made a small, broken sound that wasn't a scream, but wasn't nothing. We regrouped at the trail without speaking, like we'd crossed an invisible boundary. We stood there with all our lights pointed down, not at the cabin. Nothing followed. No door opening, no flashlights sweeping the trees, no voice. Just absence again. We walked fast after that. No conversation, just logistics. "Watch your footing, stay together." At one point, Mark said, "I think that was someone's place." And Sophie said, "I know." And that was it. Once, far behind us, I thought I saw a red glimmer between the trees. Just a blink. It could have been anything. My laser pointer pressed in my pocket. A reflection. My eyes inventing patterns. I didn't see anything. When we finally got back to the car, the dome light came on and everything inside looked too bright and too close. Sophie laughed suddenly, sharp and breathless. Mark sat with both hands on the wheel, like he was already driving. I kept thinking about how the laser must have looked from inside. Steady, fixed, a single point aimed at a window. I kept thinking about Mark's voice calling out and getting nothing back. We never went back. We never clarified whose cabin it was. We didn't even say the name afterward. I still hike, but I try and stay away from structures or campsites in the woods, especially at night.